wanted to discuss something that you might all recognize, and that is something that is called the fear of missing out. And I especially noticed this the last weeks, like creeping up again, as it is quite warm here in the Netherlands now. I notice when I walk around in the city that I see all of these terraces filled with people. I see people barbecuing in the park with big groups of friends. I see people in love holding hands, and I noticed that I felt that feeling of unease within myself. I had the feeling of missing out. So all of a sudden I have this feeling that I also need to be doing all of those things. Otherwise, I'm lame. So experiencing the fear of missing out, or they also call it FOMO, is the feeling that you are missing out on an experience that you should be having, or you think you should be having. Feeling this way is not very uncommon. In general, I looked it up online, 2/3 of the millennials say they have the feeling sometimes of missing out. So actually, it's quite a common feeling. So let's take a look at the why. Why do we feel that way? And after that, we're going to have a look at how we're going to deal with that feeling, the fear of missing out.
Okay, so let's discuss the why. Why do we have the feeling of missing out? So the first why is that we are wired for connecting with other people. And if we're not connecting, or we miss an opportunity to connect, or we have the feeling that we don't belong, that gives us, that annoying feeling that we call FOMO. And this also has an evolutionary function, because if we belong to the group or have a tendency to belong, then our chances of survival are way bigger than when we're just out there all by ourselves. And also from a reproductive standpoint, it's also beneficiary if we want to belong to the group. And I also read this research that stated that people are more affected by their losses than by their gains. So it's not that weird that we're really focused on avoiding a loss or avoiding a defeat. So that we're really focused on not missing out or not having the feeling that we don't belong to the group. And besides that, people who are more dissatisfied with their social lives right now are more affected by the feeling, or tend to have this feeling more than other people who are satisfied. That makes sense, of course, if we hear that. But I find it quite interesting to read that social media per se isn't the cause of FOMO. Before social media, it was also a thing. And I read this research where they found out that it didn't really matter if you heard it from a friend that you missed out on something, or that you saw it online on Instagram, for example. But I do think that with social media, we are confronted with all of those things, like the whole day. All of those things that we could be doing, that other people did, that we missed out on. In comparison to when a friend maybe at, school, work, tells you about a party on Friday night that you missed. It still could be hurtful, but I think with social media and checking it, a lot of times you are confronted over and over again. So that can make it more, more confronting or more frequent, I think. And now let's get to some tips on how to overcome this fear of missing out. I think the first one is to start by deleting some of your social media. And like I said before, it's not the sole cause of having FOMO, but it can really contribute to having this feeling. So I think it's a good idea to maybe experiment with this a little bit, and maybe deleting it for 7 days, and then see how you feel. Really try to notice if it does something, and then what does it do for you? Does it give you maybe some mental clarity? Does it give you some peace, or does it add maybe to the feeling of missing out because you don't see what other people are doing? And the second tip is that you can start using a gratitude journal. And I think it's quite a nice way to really start focusing again on the things that like matter in the here and now, and the things that you can be really happy and excited about now. And most of the time we tend to forget it, or yeah, we're so focused on all the things we still want to do, or the things that other people are doing, and we're not having that, or we're not having those experiences. But when we shift the focus again onto, okay, but what am I experiencing now in my own life, and all the things I can be grateful for. And the cool thing as well is that after, for example, a month or a year, you have this whole list of all the things that you are grateful for, and all the things that you otherwise might have forgotten. And also, when you are experiencing those feelings, FOMO, fear of missing out, then it's quite nice to like grab your list, so you can write it down in your phone. At least I did that. And then you like read all the things that you have in your life and that are so cool and so amazing. So that's quite a nice second tip that you can try to maybe add to your routine. Maybe you can do it before you go to sleep every night. And you just write it down in your phone, and one sentence is enough, or even a word, but just something that later on, if you read it, it reminds you of the thing that you can be grateful for. And the third tip is a little bit more a shift in the way of thinking than a really practical tip. And it's that we also shouldn't be too harsh on ourselves. So when you are experiencing FOMO, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, I can't experience this, I am ungrateful, or this is a really negative feeling and it should go away. And that brings me again to the feedback loop from hell, when I talked about this in one of my previous videos. And I think it's really spot on also with regard to this. So what he also says is that when we feel bad about having that emotion, then it kind of adds onto it. So we feel bad about feeling bad. And besides that, if we try to accept the feeling for what it is, then that in itself is a positive experience. So if we say to ourselves, okay, it's part of life, having this feeling, and it's not a really bad feeling per se, it's not a nice feeling, okay, but it can happen, okay, and it's okay then I'm feeling that way. And the quote says, the desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience, and paradoxically, the acceptance of one negative experience is itself a positive experience. So I think that sums it up. So don't be too hard on yourself and let it be. Try to accept it for what it is, and also know that those feelings will also fade away again. Okay, and the fourth tip is also more of a way of shifting our thinking. And it's that we also need to accept that we can't have anything in life. We can't have all the things that we desire in life. If we think that we have a kind of a right to all of these experiences, then we can become ungrateful. Also, dissatisfied with the things we have now. And if we know that, okay, sometimes, cool things happen, but also sometimes they don't, and sometimes we don't get invited to the party, and sometimes we are missing out on stuff that other people are experiencing, but those people aren't experiencing the things that we are. So yeah, we really need to keep that in mind. But I also find it for myself quite helpful to sometimes just think like, okay, I can want all of those things, that just sometimes it doesn't go my way, and that's okay. And then the last tip is that life is just a little bit mundane. And I do think that with social media, we think that life should be filled with all of these amazing things and events and social gatherings and holidays and whatsoever. But I don't think that's reality, and maybe there are some people who are living that kind of way, but still, even if some people only show that they go from holiday to holiday to holiday, you don't see the part where they're stuck in traffic or they're waiting 10 hours for a delayed flight, or they got really sick while traveling from eating something they shouldn't have. And I think that, yeah, we call it mundane and or boring maybe, but I think it's a really beautiful part of life as well, like a kind of a stability and being grateful with, yeah, the things you have, and not having the feeling that every day you should be looking for something new, or you should be chasing after some higher goal, and always having that feeling of feeling dissatisfied in the here and in the now. And I think if, yeah, we're always busy with the next thing or changing ourselves, we will be unhappy and we will be dissatisfied and we will be experiencing FOMO all the time, because we're not happy with what we're having in the here and now. And I want to end with the awesome quote I read by Montesquieu, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but if I didn't, then too bad. And he says, if one only wished to be happy, this could be easily accomplished. But we wish to be happier than other people, and this is always difficult, for we believe others to be happier than they are. So we're at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm really curious to know if you guys have any tips on how to overcome or how to deal with these feelings of FOMO. And if you have any tips, or if you just want to share something, please let me know in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time.